Hi, my name is Anthony Donoghue. I'm an adjunct professor at Columbia University. I would like to take this opportunity to talk to you about the third edition of my textbook titled Statistical Thinking Through Media Examples. I'd like to discuss why I decided to write in the first place and also give you a short presentation about how I use it in the classroom and the resources available to you if indeed you decide it's of value to you and your students. Almost 14 years ago, after teaching a calc-based intro at Columbia, the first course I taught at Columbia, I was asked to teach a relatively new course titled Intro to Statistical Reasoning. And in that course, I would go beyond the news headlines to the resource of the research so students could critique the quality of the research for themselves. And in so doing, they got to think about how study design affected the quality of the data. They get to think about how the measurement was actually taken. They would get to think about how representative the sample was of the population the results were being extended to, and also think about the issue of confounding factors in observational studies and why you can't make causal conclusions in observational studies, among other things. However, we'd also had time to really reason and think about the whole process of statistical inference. We'd think about how we reason with sampling variation in order to make decisions about the values of population parameters using confidence intervals and hypothesis testing. We'd also get to really think about that logical reasoning of hypothesis testing and its strengths and its limitations and how it can get manipulated through processes like p-hacking. And so there was a lot that was being taught in this course that there was no time to think about in depth in the algebra-based intros and the calc-based intro I was also teaching. And so 7 years into teaching these courses, I decided to sit down and write a textbook so I could bring what I was teaching in the intro to reasoning course to the students in the other courses. And so 7 years later, I'm sitting talking to you and having completed the third edition and the book that I feel I envisioned from the start. I wanted it to be engaging and relevant to the world around it through teaching it through media and research related examples. But also I wanted it to be rigorous in its treatment of statistical inference, but explained in accessible language in a narrative format. And so I'm proud of the finished product. It was a labor of love, as I said, for a long time. And now I would just like to take a little bit more of your time to give you a short presentation about how I use it in my courses at Columbia and the resources available to you. At Columbia University, I assigned my textbook as the primary textbook in 3 introductory courses: Introduction to Statistical Reasoning, the Algebra-based Introduction to Statistics, and a relatively new course I was asked to build titled Statistical Thinking for Data Science. For the algebra-based course, I also assign an inexpensive standard intro textbook that presents the material in more of a mathematical format. And I teach all my intro courses through media, research, and real-world data examples. The Intro to Statistical Reasoning course is a friendly introduction to statistical concepts and reasoning with emphasis on developing statistical intuition rather than on mathematical rigor. Topics include design of experiments, descriptive statistics, correlation, regression, probability, chance variability, sampling, chance models, and test of significance. In this course, I begin with discussing basic concepts: sample versus population, sample statistic versus population parameter, random sample versus convenience sample. Then an introduction to design of experiments and observational studies before having the students go beyond the news headlines to assess the quality of research, including polls and surveys. Then the next section of the course begins with a basic introduction to probability, emphasizing the need to understand the conditional probability. Introduction to data visualizations and summarizing data before using the mean and standard deviation to get familiar with calculating probabilities under the normal distribution. Then we spent 2 classes introducing the result of the central limit theorem, sampling distribution. This abstract concept can be very challenging for students. It's the foundational framework for statistical inference, so it's very important to take our time so students understand this concept before moving on to the next section of the course. After the midterm, we begin statistical inference, reasoning with the sampling distribution to make decisions about values of unknown population parameters using both confidence intervals and hypothesis testing. And we build on this foundation of statistical inference and everything we've done so far with an introduction to correlation and linear regression, and then finishing the course by looking at some examples of the misuse of hypothesis testing in research. Coursework includes weekly assignments, assessing the quality of research, including polls and surveys.
assess and discuss data visualizations in the media, mini probability projects, coin tossing, Bayes' rule, and simulations of the sampling distribution. Then we have some mini data analysis projects, summary statistics, data visualizations, confidence intervals, hypothesis testing, correlation, and linear regression analysis of real-world data. And students complete their analysis using Excel. The Introduction to Statistics course is designed for students in fields that emphasize quantitative methods, graphical and numerical summaries, probability, theory of sampling distributions, linear regression, analysis of variance, confidence intervals, and hypothesis testing, quantitative reasoning and data analysis, practical experience with statistical software. Illustrations are taken from a variety of fields, data collection, analysis project with emphasis on study design as part of the coursework requirement. In the first two classes, I cover basic concepts plus randomized experiments and observational studies. I want students to understand how study design affects data quality, and in particular, the complexity of relationships between variables in observational studies. We delve deeper into probability theory, cover more tests like the paired t-test, and finish with a solid introduction to linear regression, including multiple linear regression, where students begin to learn how we model the complexity of relationships between variables. Then a brief introduction to analysis of variance. The materials in the lecture slides are presented more mathematically. By using this approach, the students gain the necessary foundation in statistical thinking from reading my textbook, but are also well prepared to take further courses in statistics. In terms of coursework, weekly assignments include mini probability projects, simulation, coin toss and sampling distributions, questions on descriptive statistics, probability, and statistical inference drawn from the secondary textbook. There's a data analysis project, semester-long project in two parts, descriptive analysis and statistical analysis of real-world data. Analysis to be completed using R and R Studio, and students submit coding file and written report. In the Introductory Statistical Reasoning course, I will provide you with syllabus, complete set of lecture slides, and weekly assignment questions. For an Introduction to Statistics course, I provide you syllabus, complete set of lecture slides, data analysis project description, and complete set of R Studio files from my Statistical Computing in R course. I will also provide you a copy of my Udemy course titled Statistical Thinking for Data Analysis, which I feel you would find very helpful as you prepare your course using my textbook. It has 5 hours of very clear and concise lessons on the core statistical concepts, plus an hour of R labs on basic descriptive and statistical analysis. And the publisher Cognella will provide you with a free copy upon adoption. Please feel free to email me with any questions you may have. I would be more than happy to discuss them with you.